welcome to Catalan News. Full clash collision. Madrid will strip Catalonia of its self-government, and if it does, Catalonia will officially declare independence. Despite numerous calls for dialogue, many coming from the Catalan government itself, positions are more at odds than ever, and the Catalan issue has suddenly become a very big European problem. Today, European leaders met in Brussels to speak about the future of the EU, but Catalonia became the most discussed issue. Here at Catalan News, we've got the latest about this. Let's start. Uncharted waters. That's where things are right now in Catalonia. No one knows what the suspension of the Catalan self-government will actually mean, and no one knows what will happen, especially internationally, if Catalonia declares independence. Would anyone recognize it? Tensions are really high, both in Barcelona and Madrid, but it seems that all appeals for dialogue have ultimately failed.
A call for dialogue and confirmation that the Catalan Parliament has not voted on a declaration of independence. This was the main message in Puigdemont's letter answering Madrid's official request for clarification just before the deadline to respond expired. Yet this isn't enough to stop the Spanish government suspending Catalonia's self-rule. Right after receiving Puigdemont's letter, Mariano Rajoy's cabinet announced that it would enforce Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution. That means direct rule of Catalunya.
Continuará con los trámites previstos en el artículo 155 de la Constitución, con el objetivo de restaurar la legalidad en Cataluña.
How will Barcelona respond to this dramatic measure? Everything points to an imminent declaration of independence. In fact, Puigdemont said in his letter that if Madrid insists on blocking dialogue, the Catalan government may vote on a formal declaration of independence. What's more, he informed his party officials of his plans to lift the suspension on the declaration that he announced on October the 10th, should Madrid impose direct rule.
Si l'Estat aplica l'article 155 i ho fa no sé quan, però se senten moltes campanes i moltes sirenes, doncs que per nosaltres el president té tota la complicitat per aixecar aquesta suspensió.
When Article 155 and the Independence Declaration will happen is not entirely clear. Rajoy's cabinet plans to meet on Saturday to agree on the specific measures to be taken. The main Spanish parties have today been discussing how Article 155 should be enforced. Before putting any measures into force, though, the Spanish Senate first needs to pass them. No one doubts senators will vote in favour, presumably next week, but the exact day is unknown. At the same time, Catalan lawmakers were to and fro in Parliament today, trying to decide exactly when to declare independence. Will it be right before or after Spanish senators press the nuclear button of direct rule?
The standoff between the Catalan and the Spanish government has indeed alarmed all political parties from across the spectrum, both in favor and against independence.
L'amenaça de declarar en qualsevol moment la independència de Catalunya fa inevitable que l'Estat iniciï els tràmits per aplicar l'article 155 de la Constitució.
De veritat, algú a Madrid pensa que un 155 solucionarà alguna cosa? De veritat algú pensa a Madrid que el 155 és un botó que es pugui apretar y que solucionará las cosas de manera mágica?
Creo que el contenido de la carta, aun cuando pone en valor el 1 de octubre, el contenido de la carta del presidente Puigdemont lo que hace es ratificarse en la voluntad de dialogar, puesto que todo queda en stand-by. Creo que sería bueno que también el gobierno español pusiera en stand-by el desarrollo del 155 a fin y efecto que las partes pudieran sentarse a hablar.
Jo crec que el govern d'Espanya està legitimat i està obligat a actuar per recuperar l'autogovern i recuperar la normalitat institucional i política.
Today, the 28 leaders of the European Union, the President of the Commission and the President of the Council met in Brussels. And as expected, the Catalan conflict became the topic every journalist asked about.
Catalonia was not officially on the agenda of the EU summit held today in Brussels, but everyone still talks about it. The big issue, the tension between Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel and Spanish President Mariano Rajoy. Spanish diplomacy is furious with comments by the Belgian leader condemning the use of violence in Catalonia and urging dialogue between Madrid and Barcelona. But Charles Michel today was clear. He, as Belgian Prime Minister, is able to hold its own opinions.
Je persiste, je condamne toutes les formes de violence et je plaide pour qu'il y ait un dialogue afin de trouver une solution politique. Je ne pense pas que l'escalade politique soit une bonne chose. Je pense au contraire que l'on doit plaider pour un dialogue, pour de la volonté politique de trouver une solution politique quand on est confronté à une crise politique.
Flemish papers reported today that Madrid sent an email to the Belgian government accusing it of seriously endangering the bilateral relations between the two countries. The two leaders crossed paths today in Brussels, but positions do not seem closer. The official line from European institutions is that Catalonia is an internal affair, but as the tension rises, the internal issue suddenly became a very European one, with almost every leader talking about it. The Slovenian Prime Minister, for example, defended the universal right of self-determination, while those of Luxembourg or Sweden urged dialogue and negotiations.
During the summit, there were leaders that urged dialogue and others that defended the Spanish constitution, but all spoke about it, including Merkel and Macron. And the European Parliament president insisted that despite calls coming from some member states, Brussels cannot and will not interfere with what's happening in Catalonia.
Wir schauen dort sehr genau hin und unterstützen die Position der spanischen Regierung. Natürlich beschäftigt uns das sehr und wir hoffen, dass es hier auch Lösungen gibt, die auf dem Boden der spanischen Verfassung geführt werden.
Ensuite, ce Conseil européen sera marqué par un message d'unité autour de nos États membres face aux crises qu'ils peuvent connaître, unité autour de l'Espagne.
Je crois qu'on ne peut pas ignorer la situation qui est en Catalogne aujourd'hui, et on va sûrement en parler, mais ce n'est pas à l'ordre du jour d'un Conseil européen, c'est un problème hispano-espagnol.
A message that the Belgian Prime Minister and others sent today from Brussels was that, whatever the tensions between Madrid and Barcelona, violence is totally unjustified. On October 1st, riot police attacked voters in polling stations, and now many local councils are starting to take action.
City councils in Girona, northern Catalonia, are bringing to court a police operation against the October 1st referendum. They will sue police officers, commanders, as well as politicians responsible for the operation. With the help of volunteer lawyers, city councils are putting together a lawsuit that will include around 130 complaints from individual citizens, including hate speech, sexual assault, injuries and torture. Mayors say the intervention was especially harsh in the Girona area. They argue it was even politically motivated, as they apparently targeted the home place of Catalan President Carles Puigdemont, as well as the school of his daughters.
És evident que un poble de 3.500 habitants, com és Sant Julià de Ramis, sigui el primer col·legi on s'actua de forma brutal per evitar que el president de la Generalitat de Catalunya pugui dipositar el seu vot, té una intencionalitat política.
Although mayors haven't officially taken the case to court yet, they already assume that the Spanish justice system will not back them. That's why they are considering bringing the case to international court.
Reconèixer que veient com està anant i aquesta manca de separació entre els poders, no tinc confiança d'arribar a bon termini aquí, però sí que tinc confiança d'arribar a bon termini quan sortim del territori espanyol.
Indeed, Catalan institutions are not alone in condemning Spanish police violence on October 1st. International organisations such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have deemed the use of force as disproportionate. In a public statement released on Wednesday, Amnesty also called for the immediate release of arrested pro-independence leaders and said the sedition charges they face constitute excessive restrictions of their right to freedom of expression and of peaceful assembly.
Madrid's decision to start the procedure to suspend Catalonia's self-government is starting to take a toll on the markets. Today, the Spanish market saw red numbers in the uncertainty regards Catalonia. The Spanish risk premium rose as investors start to worry about Madrid's debt. Catalonia accounts for 20% of Spanish GDP, so any unilateral breakup could be nasty for the markets. Meanwhile, there are now about 800 companies that have moved their legal headquarters away from Barcelona to other parts of Spain. But many could be doing so because of the pressure by the Spanish government. In fact, the employee committee of SEAT admitted that the company is being pressured to move its headquarters out of Catalonia by politicians and members of the royal family. But the firm insists on remaining neutral on the current political standoff. Let's move on now to culture, because this week the German Film Festival of Barcelona is underway. The festival is on its 6th edition and will show some of the best art house and independent cinema shot in the last decade in Germany. The movies to be projected this year will tackle contemporary issues in history, politics, and much more. A great opportunity to discover new movies. And with this, we finish today's show. We'll be back tomorrow with more information about what's going on in Catalonia. We leave you with some images of the pretty bad weather that we are seeing these days here, with torrential rain and strong winds. Let's hope it stops soon. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.